Hi there, this is Ryan.
Hi, this is Dave. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Big fans. We're
Huge fans.
Yeah, huge fans. We're calling in. I want to give a little background on how I found out about the pod, because I was very excited about it when SJ texted me. I don't know if, Dave, you were excited about it or not.
I'm not usually excited about things actually texting me, but I can get behind being excited about this text for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm glad you found strength in you to be excited for this one. So yeah, I got a text message from him actually before any of the social media stuff. I'm just going to read it to you because it's pretty insightful into like what the purpose of the podcast was and kind of SJ's vision, if you don't mind, Dave.
I'm totally on board. I'd love to see how he presented this to you.
Okay, yeah. No, definitely him. So yeah, and like this reads exactly like, he's a writer, so it reads exactly like him. So, all right. So the text message, I'll pull it up here. He goes, "Hey, cuz, it's SJ, your oldest cousin." Sounds like SJ, right? So, all right. He continues. "I'm so lonely, deeply lonely. Most of my days are spent waiting for the darkness to take me. Oh, how I long for the finality of death. I spend my days eating cheese balls and wallowing. I think I even ate one of the lids from the cheese ball buckets. You know the ones, the big plastic drums. Anyway."
Just skip ahead a little bit.
So let's skip ahead. Okay, so let's skip ahead, getting close to the end. Yeah, and he ends with, "So yeah, that's what I really think happened on 9/11. Anyway, I started a podcast. It's called Machete Order. It's about putting films and media in a different order than it was originally released. Please call into this number and leave a voicemail about what you think of the pod."
Welcome to Machete Order, a podcast about the best TV shows of all time, or at least some of them. I'm S.J. Pederuti.
I'm Maxine Philivong. Each season, we're joined by a special guest host.
Two of us will have seen the show before.
And one hasn't.
This season, we're talking about The Sopranos.
Maybe you should go back, Heidi. Kennedy, I'm on my learner's permit after dark.
Oh, fuck! I just remembered something. God damn it.
What?
I got you something. I got you a present, and I meant to bring it.
Aw, for our last episode? Okay, well, do you want to tell? You can tell the viewers unless you want to be a surprise for me.
Could you, open it, pretend like it opened? So,
yeah.
Ross, do you have yours? I got you something, too. Did your package come in?
Is that the ring? Is that from you?
Yeah!
You got a ring?
Go get it. I told you not to open it.
All right, let me get it.
Unbelievable. I told him.
The surprise is gone.
I said, "Ross, I've ruined the surprises. I had a surprise for you. I had a surprise for Ross."
Aw.
Yeah, because I think
Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you've put into this. Yeah. Well, all right. So you can pretend imagine, if you will.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got you a thing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so kind of you.
Do you remember when you said that you wanted a T-shirt with the picture of Tony and Iomai?
Yeah.
I got you that shirt.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it.
Yes.
I was on Amazon looking for one too, so I'm glad.
That's what I got you, yes.
Nice, thank you.
And then for Ross to go with his 2 gold chains.
Yes! Yes!
It fits the pinky!
I was thinking about all the bit I would have on this ring for this podcast, not knowing it was SJ sent it to me, and there you go. There's no more bit. It's from SJ.
I was trying to make sure that I knew.
Wait, did it not have a sender label on it? You knew it was from SJ, right?
No, it was just from Famed Goods. It didn't say.
Oh.
Well, because I went to buy it, and
yeah.
I'm terrible at buying things online. I always forget to customize the certain field that I need to customize. I needed to change the address to send it to Ross and not to me off of Etsy. And so I forgot to do that. And then I scrambled and texted the owner immediately after I bought it. Hey, can you send it over to this place in Delaware instead? Yeah. Ross, does it fit your pinky? Because I was like, I wonder what Ross's pinky ring size is.
Wait, were you guessing his size?
Yeah.
It does not. And now it's stuck in my middle finger.
No.
That's good. But that's good. That's what we want, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted it to be like the Joe Pesci pinky ring skit from Saturday Night Live, but it just felt appropriate for you, Russ, with your gold chains. Now you can really be a Cavone.
Maxine, you're gonna get a $200K Venmo from me for a down payment for your first house.
Thank you. Okay, last episode of the season. How are we feeling? Woo! Yay!
I'm excited.
Yay! And we're yet again a half hour into the episode, and we haven't even started talking about anything yet.
I have a gold ring.
Yes, you do, buddy. Thank you.
Look at that. Thank you, SJ.
Thank you.
SJ.
Thank you.
So sweet.
For the next season, I'll wear the T-shirt on the first episode.
Yes. I hope you do.
I will.
You guys have both been great.
So tender, as my cousin says with a Rhode Island accent. Tender.
Wait, put it on your finger and show it to the camera.
This is how the mobsters wear it in SJ.
I like that.
I like that it's blurred on your video too, so it
Wait,
looks
it's
like
blurred.
Like
it
it's
looks
some
like there's
obscene
like
sort of symbol. Yeah.
profanity on it.
Check it.
It's supposed to be a pinky ring, Ross, so make sure you go and get it sized. It's precious metal.
Okay, I
All
will.
right.
I promise.
Yeah. No, you guys have been great. This would not have actually happened if it weren't for both of you coming in and taking some time out of your week to talk about a show that's 20 years old with me. So I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the gifts and represent them as part of your overall brand now that you're famous podcasters.
Ross, have you gotten recognized yet? The hottest one on this podcast?
Oh my God, this story won't die.
I was gonna make a poster for you, Ross, a little pinup for you now that you're so famous and so adored by all these fans, but that was not in the budget.
One person who said that, but yeah, okay. I have not.
Well, no,
gotten
I sent a screenshot of your Instagram to someone, and they're like, "Yeah, he's hot." They're right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, who knows what picture you sent? You could have sent the Glenn Powell picture to them. They wouldn't have. Glenn Powell, Man of the Summer. No recognition yet, but that Minkus post felt pretty good. Felt like that was.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you lost out.
Oh yeah. Ultimately. No, I mean ultimately I won. So I'm going to say Kate won. I'm a winner.
I was gonna say when you're like, oh, ultimately, I am sorry too. Let's not have Kate listen to this episode. All right. Well, we've got a couple of messages that have come into the mailbox.
Believe it or not, we do have
What?
listeners. No one thought it could be done.
Yeah.
Everyone doubted me, but we have
Not me calling my friends and begging them to leave us messages.
me posting on my Instagram story 5 times. Please.
People don't support this thing and might not make it. So thank you
And
for
it's
supporting
made
this.
it. We love our friends very much.
Our fans.
Our fans.
Yes.
They're fans.
They're friends to
Okay.
you. They're fans to us.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, just to let's set some context. We are just taking calls now. We've discussed The Sopranos. We are excited
Wait,
to
are we
hear.
getting Celia here?
We're gonna play them. We're gonna listen to what people have to say, whatever that might be, and then we'll react to it. And then we've got our number one super fan who's gonna come in for a live call-in segment to close us out on season 1 of Machete Order.
Wait, look at Ross's Zoom right now. For audio editing listeners, Ross has discovered
How do you even do that? That looks amazing.
he's discovered how to use Zoom filters.
I can react.
I am new to filters. I'm really new to Zoom. Who uses Zoom? Come on. It's so foreign to me.
This is an audio podcast. Okay, I'm gonna play. This is our first call. Okay, here we go.
Hello. I was just wondering what everyone's favorite episode they watched is, and if, for the two guys, if their favorite episodes were watched during Machete Orders. Love a drunk 20-something.
Well, thank you, drunk
Great.
20-something.
I got yelled at after that episode.
I love it. No, this is all right. Well, let's start with you, Max. You're the newbie to it.
Okay, my favorite episode. I listened to all these voicemails before we got on, but I don't know if I have. I should have thought about this more.
You listen to these calls ahead of time.
Yeah, and
You're
I
the
didn't
only
think
one.
about it. Okay, what were your favorite episodes, and did I get to watch it?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
Did you get to watch it? You know, I always loved the very first episode of season 6, which was called Members Only, and we didn't watch it. And I
Yeah.
really, really wanted to put it in, but as we were getting down to the last few episodes, I just felt like we didn't have room for it. And
Yeah.
it set up Tony getting shot, and that felt much more important to talk about what they discussed during his coma.
Yeah.
we ended up not being able to include it, but it has this really cool opening scene where they talk about how, like, the ancient pharaohs talked about the 7 stages of death.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this monologue talking about how when you die, the first thing that leaves is your spirit and then your consciousness. And it goes through all these different levels. I wouldn't say it's my favorite episode, but there were certainly favorite scenes that we didn't get to see, and that was one of them.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ross? Did I get to watch your favorite episode?
The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti was one of my faves.
That one's a good one.
Yeah, I love the Archie Christopher and being in the paper, and I think that's the same episode that he shoots the guy in the foot, right?
Yes.
In the
Yeah.
shop, yeah.
In the
The
baker.
callback with that.
Yep.
Alice just was great. And then Blue Comet was, for me, awesome. I mean, just really, I think the 3 episodes that we covered were all amazing. Second Coming, Blue Comet,
Mhm.
Kennedy, and Heidi. Just so much happening. I mean, anytime, one of the main characters gets whacked or severely injured, it's compelling.
Bobby's death is such a hard one to watch, and like Ross had pointed out, it's really well shot. The energy of the sound of the train coming and
Mm-hmm.
the close up of it, and then Bobby just like getting
Yeah.
blasted. I actually Bust Out was one that stuck with me. I really enjoyed
Oh, yeah.
like watching them destroy that poor guy's life, and the,
I think that was, I don't know if it was my favorite episodes, but it was definitely one of my favorite episode, because I also think that in Machete Order, that gave me context for like what they were actually doing.
yeah.
I think that was the episode where I'm like, oh, okay, I understand the scheme they're running now. I also think Tony coming out of the office, but then being like, "You're doing a good job," was one of my favorite lines. So I think Bust Out must have been, yeah.
It showed a very well-rounded side of Tony Soprano's character,
Yeah.
trying to be a nice friend, being an asshole about it, feeling stressed and overwhelmed, screwing over people. All due respect to as a finale. I always enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, the
Can I tell you
same.
one episode that I liked a lot more on second viewing?
Yeah.
Maybe it's third viewing, but was Sopranos Home Movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you had that in the list, you showed it to me. I was like, I remember not loving that one, but after watching it and knowing more about Bobby, it's better than I remember.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. And I mean, I would say this too, like this show, if you only watched it through Machete Order or you've seen it before all the way through and you're listening to this particular episode for the first time and you haven't seen Machete Order, this is a show that you can watch over and over again
Yeah.
and take more out of it every time you
Yeah.
see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it changes over time too, which I think is great. I mean, the throwaway references to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton in the show, who could have thought that they'd be as prophetic as they are?
Right.
And those types of things will continue to change as the times change. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those eternal shows. That's why we picked it.
Exactly. Okay. Next call.
Hey, this is Barry in Boston. I love the show, guys. I think your coverage of The Sopranos has been real fair. It's my favorite show. I love the part where Nico Alavodka beat Rigger Anthony to death with a slotted spoon. Anyway, just want to know what you guys thought of all the dream sequences. I think they could be a little lazy writing sometimes, but it's still my favorite show anyway. Anyway, love you. Talk soon. Drive safe.
Harry, oh my goodness.
All right.
Speaking to my heart here with the dream episodes.
He's coming
Yeah.
back. Barry, we want you on for the next season as well, please. Yeah. I mean, the dream sequences.
I think it is lazy writing at times. And I think in most movies and TV shows, it is lazy writing. But I think The Sopranos, I didn't see all of the episodes, so I think from what you've told me, sometimes they overplay their hand and it is a little too much. But I think especially for the episodes where Tony is in a coma,
Mhm.
and then entire 2 episodes was a dream sequence, I think it worked well as a plot device and less as lazy writing.
That and the scenes where he gets sick and realizes that
Yeah.
pussy is the mole.
Yeah.
I thought that was where there was some good dreams that could help
Yeah.
carry along an episode in a meaningful way. But otherwise, for me, it was a lot of the same type of exposition that was being delivered in the psychiatrist's office with Dr. Melfi. And there could have been more subtle ways of delivering that information for us
Yeah.
and telling or showing what they wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But unless it was something that meaningfully contributed to the plot, I felt like the dream sequences and the psychiatry scenes were just sort of lazy ways of being able to tell the story.
Yeah, I think the psychiatry scenes more than the dream sequences were just like you said, a lazy way of telling a story. So maybe the question we should be asking is, was Dr. Melfi lazy writing, or was she a plot device?
I think when it
Or,
allowed
you know.
you to hear Tony contradict himself and to lie to himself, then it was compelling to be able to move things forward. But when it was serving a point of just trying to advance a plot, then it was kind of lazy writing, and they just needed to kind of shift things a little bit further.
Yeah.
But, you know, the scenes after Christopher dies and he's fantasizing about talking to Melfi about how the biggest career mistake he had is gone, that was really interesting to see.
Yeah.
The way that he would confess his true feelings.
What about you, Ross?
Well, I think you know where I stand on dreams in general. I don't like them. I don't like when people talk about them in real life. I don't like seeing them in shows. And I think Join the Club and Mayhem were maybe my two least favorite episodes that we covered.
Yeah.
To the point I stated, a few episodes ago, and to the point you just stated, I do think at times it is lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think in general it's lazy when TV shows do this. I think Sopranos did a slightly better job than most. But yeah, I'd rather they'd find other avenues to tell the story than something that's effectively make-believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exposition's hard. Harder than you think.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to? We'll play our next call.
All right.
Doing it again. I wanted to say two things. One, how did you guys manage to say the name pussy over and over without cracking up? Because that is the funniest thing in the world. I'm not sure if I already said that, but I'm reiterating it. And B, if I ever hear raw dogging again, I don't know. It's something apocalyptic is going to happen. Bye.
Ross, speak for your actions. You really does.
Stop. I can't. I'm trying. It's an issue.
We thought coded would have been a buzzword that we'd use more often, but yeah, Ross had just a hankering for the raw dog.
We overdid it with coded, and you could argue that we've underdone it with raw dog.
I don't think that's what the caller was.
Coded was one episode. Raw dog, it's continuing.
If you had just named the episode Raw Dog, everything would be fine. But you left it open.
We discussed that. Yeah.
Speaking of raw dog, SJ, we got a call from the police department for your antics on an airplane.
What?
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Lieutenant Wilcox at the Brookline Police Department. I'm calling in regards to a certain FJ fraternity who has been unlawfully distributing pornographic material pertaining to foot and feet images. We need this activity to cease immediately. Call us at 617-555-9826. We are issuing a warrant for your arrest effective immediately.
Wow. Some strong feelings about feet on an airplane.
Socks on or off?
Socks on. I'm not an animal. All right.
Not enough. Shoes on, please.
I think you people have a problem with feet. All right. I don't think it's me letting the dogs breathe a little bit out there. I think it's you with your issues. All right. I refuse to acknowledge this arrest. I will not abide by it.
I think you should go live in Australia. The Australians love to not wear their socks or shoes on planes. You're just like them.
All right, fine. I'll go where my people are appreciated. Okay. Yeah.
Congratulations to the Machete Order crew. And this is coming from somebody who drives more than 3,000 miles a month. And I listen to podcasts of all sorts. This is really, really, really enjoyable. It was interesting. It was funny. And, don't judge my voice for sounding surprised, but really intelligent, guys. MVP award, the most valuable podcaster award, definitely goes to Maxine, without a doubt. Didn't even have to think about this one. Each episode, she was suggesting a theme or a thread that I hadn't noticed before, and I consider myself to be a huge, huge Sopranos fan. I've seen the series through twice and love it very much. So props to somebody who really dug into a complicated cast and only got to see a fragment of the series. I hope you are interested enough to go back and watch the rest. But seriously, all jokes aside, SJ, as a grown man, you really should just keep your shoes on during a flight. Like, don't take your shoes off. If you ever get wealthy enough to travel in the private jet or a first-class private pod, consider that your golden ticket to pop those puppies off. But short of that, maybe just get more comfortable shoes, but keep your shoes on.
Okay, I'm trying to pick one from
Is that one message?
Yeah, from your cousin.
Oh my God.
I forget what this one is, but it's 3 minutes long.
All right, let's listen to it.
This one?
The best one. Play it.
I like this one.
Hey, what's the name of this thing again? Machete Order? Well, I certainly didn't order it. Oh! I heard the two hosts met at a bar. Oh, yeah? Yeah, usually when SJ meets a girl at a bar, the girl's misfortune of... Oh, well, that's still better than doing a podcast with him. You know, they say every man has 2 deaths. Once when he's buried in the ground, and the other when he starts his first podcast. Oh! You know, my nephew has a podcast. Oh, yeah? What's it about? Being unemployed. Oh! I actually listened to an episode. I didn't think it was half bad. Oh, no? No, it was all bad. Oh! You know, I like parts of The Sopranos. Really? Which ones? The nose at the end. The real question is, what happens at the end of the show? The question is, who cares?
Wow.
That sounds like a Pederuti there.
That's great.
I don't know which one, but it sounds like a Pederuti.
Those are, I gotta say, those are some good bits. That's the Stadler and Waldorf joke format. I'm impressed.
Honestly,
I'm impressed.
Do you think they pre-wrote it? I mean, who was
Absolutely,
that? We don't know.
They didn't just
A
riff
listener. Some fans of ours.
I did say I was looking for the Stadler and Waldorf of my family to come in and give us some pointers. So they did not disappoint. I don't know. I mean, nothing to react to it there other than the fact that hosting a podcast is like midlife crisis of the 21st century millennial man. So yeah.
Okay, do we want some more compliments?
Yes, let's do something nice.
Hey guys, it's Brittany from Boston. I just want to say I love what you guys are doing with the pod. I think it's genius. I've been waiting for so long to find people that love The Sopranos as much as I do. Love the different perspectives. Everything is very original and creative. SJ, I have to admit you have a good podcasting voice.
Yeah.
Max, I've seen you around. I'm too nervous to go up to you, but huge fan. Ross, you're great too. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. Okay, can't wait for the next step. Bye.
Ross, you're great too.
Ross.
Yeah,
I think she meant to say that you're hot.
third place on that call. That's okay. I gotta do better.
A distant third. Yeah, you know, if you could get your AV going, maybe you'd be a little bit more appreciated by the people. Also,
You'd
Brittany,
be even better if I could hear you. Yeah.
Brittany from Boston. If you can't find Sopranos fans out there in the world, I don't know what to do for you.
Well,
I guess there's 3 here.
You found me, and I'm not a Sopranos fan. Well, newly turned.
That's true.
At the end of the season, but yeah.
Yeah, now you're an aficionado. That was very nice. That was very straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed that.
Okay. I think that was a successful call-in episode.
That's about what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expected less. So, oh, wait. Okay. We had a few more voicemails. 2 from my friends. One was a PSA about a rabies shot. So,
okay.
Barrett, if you're listening, I'm sorry we couldn't play that one, but we have gotten our rabies shot. 2 from my friend Margaret, who said she could land. Oh, never mind. She could not land an airplane.
Wait, we have one of those?
We have an airplane one.
Let's
Do you want
play that
Okay,
one.
hold on.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Margaret. I don't know if this is still a relevant question, but I remember you wanting us to answer if we thought we could fly a plane. I think no, but I do think if I was in an emergency with other people, then yes, I could fly a plane. If I was alone in said emergency where a plane needs to be flown, I would simply lay down and die. And that is the truth about me. I don't know if I'm supposed to ask a question. I really hope you don't play this whole thing. But I would just like to say that I think completely run out of it. Anyway, Maxine, don't text me about this. I don't want to. Can we not discuss this? Okay.
How can we not play this one?
Nailed
This
it.
is the best one. Oh,
Okay.
Margaret, who can't land a plane by herself, but if there were a bunch of people watching, she could do it.
Yeah.
So she likes to be watched.
Hey.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, come on.
No, someone was okay. I said this. If someone was talking to me through the headset, like Ross, Ross discovered Zoom filters, and it's he's been doing this entire episode.
This is not good podcast content.
If someone was talking to me through the headphones and walking me through it, I think I'd be able to do it. Yeah. If I was on my own, no way.
That's not what Margaret said though. She's like, if people are, was it Margaret? It was
Margaret.
Yeah. She's like, if people were watching me, I could do it.
Yeah.
Not people are giving me the instructions as they go through, but
she can take the pressure. Then.
She likes a crowd. She needs an audience. Yeah. No, some people like that. The audience gives them energy. So
I can't. I don't want anyone to look at me.
So
when
if there
I do
was a
anything.
studio audience out here, you wouldn't be able to do this.
Way.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Margaret sounds very interesting. I want to meet this person.
Yeah.
I love her. She's like one of my best friends.
Good call, Margaret. Good call. We're there in solidarity with you. I could not fly a plane under any circumstances.
I could.
No. Just raw dogging flying planes.
It's not raw dogging. Someone's walking me through it.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
This is the first voicemail we got on our hotline. All right. And this will be the last one we play. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Gabagoo. Gabagoo.
I like how it transcribed it there. I spelled it right, and then gabagoo, like ragu.
I know. They couldn't have just repeated that word twice. It must have had a spelling error. All right. We've come to the point now in the finale where we're going to bring on our number one super fan, avid friend of the show, friend of Ross's, Ben.
Ben?
Ben. Does Ben have
Ben?
All right, Ben.
Hey, guys.
Ben.
Yeah!
In the flesh. Hello.
Welcome to Machete Order. We are excited to have you.
Yeah. I don't know what makes me so special, but I'm glad to be here.
Well, you're here. That's what makes you special.
I'm glad to see whatever that is on Ross's face.
Ross is
I
being
can't get it
Ross.
off, man. It's I'm trying to kill these filters, and it's impossible. So you're gonna have to live with this.
In our official last episode of Machete Order, Ross has discovered Zoom filters. This is the first time we're using Zoom. So
this is also the
Zoom.
last time we'll be using Zoom.
I think so,
exactly
because
what's our problem on Google Meets? You're right.
No,
I'm unleashed now.
No.
Should I do a quick intro and background on Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Ben and I have known each other for a while. Ben and Casey is now a wife. Casey went to nurse practitioner school with my wife, Kate. And fun fact, we all started dating in the same month, I think, in 2013. So
all right.
Very, very interlinked.
I think so,
yeah. Yeah. All happened at the same time. Ben is a lawyer. He's much smarter than I am.
Low bar.
And SJ. I can't speak for Maxine, but more than the two guys on this pod. And yeah, a rabid Sopranos fan who's been giving me some great takes over text throughout the season. So Ben, we wanted to have you on to get your overall take on the episodes we picked, any storylines missed, any characters missed, and really any thoughts you had on the pod. Start anywhere you'd like.
All right. Well, thanks. So I should probably start by saying that at baseline, I'm probably a little constitutionally opposed to the premise of this podcast.
Oh,
my coworker said the same thing.
Unbelievable.
But
getting right into it.
Mostly because this it's like, well, it's so important to me. So when my family was visiting the Moultons in May or early June, and he told me about the podcast. Yeah, we're boiling it down to 30 episodes. I was like, I don't know about that. But then I started listening, and I got into it as a fan because, I felt like I had something at stake because you were picking these episodes and going through, and I'm listening. I'm like, no, I think the first one, you're deciding which ones at the end of season 1 to do. And you were going to skip over Isabella. And then Ross was like, well, what about Isabella? And I'm like, yes, don't skip Isabella, that sort of thing. So I was really into it and kind of following along. And I think about through the first 15 of them, you guys went in, I know the whole premise is Machete Order. You guys went through the first 15 and you're going season by season.
Yeah.
And once you got to 15, you got to the end of season 3 and I know it's Machete Order, but once you really started macheting it up, and skipping to season 6 and then going back to 4 and 5 and then back to 6 and then back to 5 and then back to 6. I felt like it kind of lost the thread a little bit from my perspective, because I view each season as its own, each season's got its own arc and serves a different purpose in the grand scheme of the series. I think season 1 really sets the table very nicely, and then season 2 arc is like new heights, and each episode is almost like its own movie and has its own parallels between the characters and the stories that are going on. And then, in my opinion, season 4 and 5 are the best, and then season 6 is kind of a long setup for either the finale or the final 4 episodes, which you guys did cover. So I kind of think that getting to the end of season 3 and then really messing up the order kind of deprived Maxine of the benefit of really digesting properly season 4 and 5, which are really good. And then there's the whole subject of the finale, which has been the subject of so much debate over the past 17 years. And we're still talking about it, what happened. And there's all these Easter eggs, like from the first episode of season 6, episode 1, members only, and the finale, that are, at least in my view, are just so important at the end and like the final run of episodes. So if I had a criticism, I'd say, other than my like outright opposition to the premise of the podcast, I would say it was that kind of going nuts at the second half of it and jumping around so much, which I know was done with intention. And I understood why you picked the 3 episodes that you picked for each episode of the podcast. But I thought kind of deprived Maxine of being able to really digest those properly. So the thing that I was going to ask when I came on, when Ross first asked me to come on, was something that Ross ended up asking last episode, which was whether Maxine feels the desire to go back and watch the rest of it. And I think on its own terms, because this is Machete Order and the whole purpose is to reduce it down to these 30 episodes, she said no, basically, I think on its own terms, SJ said, oh, that's a victory for
mission accomplished.
For Machete Order.
Mission accomplished. Yeah.
Because I feel like you shouldn't just watch 30 episodes of this and then feel like you're done and you don't need to see the rest of it, because like every single episode has something to contribute to the overall arc of the story. And I obviously don't blame Maxine for that because she's never seen it before. But I felt like when I heard that, I was like, man, I feel like if she had been able to see like 4 and 5 and then really kind of pick apart 6, then maybe she'd feel differently. But that's just my take.
I think,
I love I love how protective you are of Maxine's experience.
Yes.
It's like splitting children, trying to choose between the episodes. I will say that having done this one for the first time to try to cut down any type of show like this, I was surprised at how tight only being able to choose 30 episodes felt. And I will admit, I think that we spent a little more time with season 2 than I think I would have otherwise, because we did have to cut out pretty much all of season 5. And season 5 is very good. And you barely get to know Tony B and see his whole character develop. And it is compelling. I mean, it's Steve Buscemi. Yeah. It's a good character in the whole show. It's an interesting time for Tony and Carmela being separated. And we kind of just like fly over that, because one of the things that you inevitably have to do when you're trying to condense a show down is just pick certain storylines. And so we clearly wanted to go with the concept of death and finality and how, the impact on somebody else is felt by actions that might not seem related to that person, and talk about those themes, which is why I also was hard pressed to exclude members only, that opening of season 6, because it really does set up not just that season, I think, but really the whole premise of the show is set up with that opening sequence. So I actually, Ben, will ask you, in terms of the Easter eggs that were in that opening, and granted, Max, you didn't get to see this, but because you brought it up, Ben, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about those Easter eggs and how they relate to the finale and to these themes that we talked about on Machete Order.
So season 1 opens. The episode is called Members Only, and
season 6.
Season 6, episode 1 opens with an episode called Members Only, which is focused around one of kind of otherwise a side character in this mob story named Eugene Pontecorvo, who is a member of Vito's crew, and he wears. In the episode, he wears this jacket that's a members only jacket. It's the gray jacket with the members only sign on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole story is basically he inherits a sizable chunk of money from a deceased aunt or distant relative who dies, who leaves all of her assets to him. And he wants to leave the mob. And he asks for Tony's permission, basically like, hey, I've got all this money. I don't need to earn this way any longer. My wife and I would like to just like witness protection ourselves, basically down to Florida or somewhere distant and just retire and live off our inheritance. And he thinks, I'll think about it and I'll let you know. And then he basically strings them along and suggests a bunch of things like, hey, if you do us this favor, then, I'm considering your request. And it involves him going out and killing somebody who needs to be killed for their, business purposes.
Up in Boston.
And he does all these things for, in Boston. Yeah, that's right. So he does all these things. And in the end, Tony tells him, no, like you took an oath. We're in a family. You can't leave. And in the backdrop, Eugene has all these other issues going on. His son's on drugs. The family's kind of in a desperate spot, and he ends up committing suicide. He hangs himself in his garage. And frankly, the way that scene is shot is very, very amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing that I think is so cool about that is that episode 1 of season 6 came out so like a couple of years in advance of the finale. So as you're watching it live, as I did, as it aired, this is in your distant memory, but all of a sudden at the end in the finale, this members only guy comes into to Hostin's, which is the restaurant where the final scene takes place. And there's that suspicious looking guy who's at the bar, drinking coffee and kind of looking over his shoulder at Tony. And he walks by, and the first time you see it, you don't know whether he's going to pull out a gun or not. And frankly, he looks a lot like Eugene.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of like undeniable symmetry between that first episode of the season of part 1, and then the finale that, I think centers around a lot of people's theories about what exactly happened in that last scene.
So you are the only one who's on this podcast right now who watched The Sopranos in real time as it was coming out. How did you appreciate the show once you'd been able to watch it on demand and you could just go into the app and pull up whatever episode you wanted to? How did it change the viewing experience for you compared to watching it linearly as it came out?
So I actually started watching it in more of a binge setting because I didn't watch season 1 through 3 as it aired. My parents didn't have cable at the time.
All right. Ross can relate.
Late 90s, early 2000s. And so my dad's colleague from work, gave him these VHS tapes of the series.
Okay.
And so when I was out in high school and I was going out on the weekends and I had a curfew and I'd, come home in a state, I suppose, I'd pop in a VHS, I'd make like a PB&J and just chill out and watch The Sopranos. And actually, ironically, it was all out of order. So because I had these VHS tapes and I didn't know which one went first, and the guy messed up.
You were macheting ordering before you even knew it was a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're the original machete order.
The original. Yeah. Not by choice. So I caught up by then. And then once season 4 started airing, that was when I started watching sequentially. So yeah, I mean, I'd say the experience has changed because I've done so many, I've watched it more times than I can count, but I've been able to rewatch in different ways. I mean, sometimes it's just, throw on an episode because I want to watch something, but sometimes I got really back into it during the pandemic, and I was doing it very intentionally and only watching an episode a week. And then I would listen to these rewatch podcasts, Michael Imperoli and Steve Sciarippa, who
Talking Sopranos,
our competitors.
There you go. Yeah, we're doing theirs. So I was listening to theirs, and then there was another fan podcast that I was enjoying. So I would watch one episode, and then I'd take the week and like listen to these two podcasts, and then watch another one. And right now I'm going through it again, and I'm trying to rank all the episodes.
Wow.
So that's the one I'm in right now. So I'm 63 and 86, so I'm getting pretty close.
So you're watching season 4 through 6 in real time. Do you remember which death hit you the hardest watching it live?
Oh, yeah. It's got to be Adriana. I mean, that's the one that hit me the hardest because she's the one who least deserved it for sure. Though the watching whoever did this and the scene where Tony kills Ralphie was just unreal. I mean, that just that came out of nowhere, especially because it was episode 8 in the season.
Yeah, it
just wasn't expected because typically these big moments happen in like 12 and 13, like the last one or the penultimate episode.
Yep.
So seeing that one was pretty wild.
Well, Bobby Bacala though, Blue Comet.
Yeah. That was a little less. I mean that one sucked, but
they tell you it's going to happen though. You hear them talking about like doing it, whereas Adriana, you think the opposite based on how Tony calls her up on the payphone.
And Adriana just crawling away the way she did, it's just
yeah. I mean, she didn't deserve any of that. I mean, from either side. I mean, from the mob or from the FBI side, it completely manipulated her over this, kind of puny charge.
Yeah.
And put her in a kind of an impossible position, but but with Blue Comet, it's also that's the second to last episode of the series, and I think everybody was expecting some shit to go down, basically. So it wasn't totally crazy that something like that was going to happen.
You're 64 into ranking the Sopranos 86. What right now is number 1 for you?
Whitecaps. Season 4, episode 13 is my favorite. Yeah.
Why Whitecaps?
I view the series as a lot of people like it specifically for the mob drama aspect, but I view it as like a show about like the mob setting is kind of the premise of it, or like the lens of the whole point of the show, which is more about the human condition and like life in suburban America in this like 9/11 post 9/11 era.
The end of the American dream.
Yeah. So I actually really, I just, the scenes between Carmela and Tony in that, I mean, multiple scenes in that episode are just masterclasses in acting. I mean, it's incredible. And that's also my favorite season in general. So the way that they tied that all together at the end, I just thought was great. And,
the highs and lows too, of them buying the vacation home and then getting a divorce. Yes. In the same episode.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say I love the Alan Sappingsley side story because he's just such a twerp,
The dad from Rookie of the Year.
I'm a lawyer and I know these assholes too. It's just
funny. Do you paint on your porch with a sweater wrapped around your arms?
Sweater wrapped around, yeah, exactly.
There's a great
hire a painter.
The comic relief of them playing the Tony Bennett soundtrack off the boat on the speakers that came from
was
the
great.
home theater.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
and the wife just screaming at him like, just give him his money, please. Like,
yeah,
and she's totally right. Like, why are you messing with this guy? I mean, just give him his money back. Like,
yeah.
He said he plays a D-bag well because he's the Rookie of the Year dad. He's not very likely.
That's how we'll always know him.
Yeah. Well, Ben, I'm happy we played your favorite episode.
Yes,
we got one thing right this season, and I was playing Whitecaps.
You got three of my top 5.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we missed. That was what I was going to ask. Is were we missing any of the big ones that you really thought we should have included?
So right now, I mean, I'm only through the end of season 5. So I'm not sure how this will change. But number 3 for me is Test Dream, which is season 5, episode 11. I know Ross at least is
heavy on the dreams. That one
of the dream sequences, but I love them. I think that no one there's no show I've seen that does these dream sequences better.
We just talked about dream sequences earlier before we got on.
Yeah.
I wish I bought the intro, but
why do you love the dream sequences so much?
it's just so hard to do. I mean, it's just so they're to me they're very the way they do them is very like realistic in terms of how like someone's dream would be, where there's a constant like this is about something that is happening, but then there's this nonsense that happens in the middle of it that's also has some meaning there. You know, that one in particular, I mean, and Maxine, I don't know if you know anything about this episode, but I'd say like 40 of the 60 minutes are a dream. It's like, you know, at the very end, that's how he decides or comes to the realization that he has to kill Tony B himself, or that he knows that I don't know if it's how he comes to the realization that he has to kill him, but that he knows that he just did this thing that is going to cause huge problems with him, which was killing Phil Leotardo's brother. And then he wakes up and Silvio calls him and says that that's what happened, which is it's very prescient. Yeah,
I do agree with you that they did a good job cutting in the random thoughts you have in dreams and intermixing them to some degree. I think that is realistic.
That's the episode where he's on the horse in the living room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't get to watch that one.
He goes to dinner with Finn's parents. Yeah, and Finn's parents are played by John Hurd, who plays, I don't know if you ever saw an episode in the first season with the crooked cop, but he's in the very first season and doesn't return. He dies in the first season and doesn't return for 4 seasons later. And then Annette Bening is the mom. And like in the middle of a dinner, he turns around to her and says, "You're Annette Bening, right?"
Yeah.
know? It's just a funny little, you know.
Well, and that misplacement of the character in your dream is your mother, but it's not your mom. It's being played by somebody else. And that's that's a great observational device to put into a dream sequence. And he's on a horse in the living room talking to Carmel. They're having a normal conversation, except he's on a horse. I agree with you, Ben. I think that they do dreams well. They thought through how you would portray it with either a visual cross, or there's that scene where Tony crashes through the windshield and they're playing the Wizard of Oz song, so the audio doesn't match to what you would expect to see. And you can relate to that as somebody who's dreamed. I think we landed on the idea that just on principle, using a dream sequence to help illuminate a character's consciousness or reveal something to the audience about how the story needs to move is a device that we're not comfortable with. But it sort of is a little bit too like what Churchill said about democracy. It's the worst form of government except for all the others. Sometimes you're in a place where you need to move things along in a fantastical way. You need to give insight in a supernatural way. And a dream's not a bad way to go with it. But
well, Ben's convinced me. I'm JD Vancing it here.
Wow.
I'm loving the dream sequences. That's a total flip.
Wow. You've been anti-dream this entire series. I mean,
and once you bring a friend on, Ross, are we not good enough friends? We just spent
I needed an outside voice.
We spent 12 weeks together, and you won't respect us enough.
You got us against the dream sequences.
Us.
Wow.
I know I got you against it, and now I'm.
I don't think I should feel any accomplishment if I've turned you into JD Vance.
Okay, I have a question. Has anyone seen a talking fish in any of your dreams?
Swimming. Works the whole body. No, I can't remember, but I also realized that if I don't remember a dream and I don't recount it immediately after waking up, then as soon as I get started into the monotony of the real world, I forget about the dream.
The monotony of the real world. You gotta spice things.
The regularness of this life is too much for me. That's
good one, SJ.
That was from Christopher. That was season 1.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The regularness of life is too much.
We know.
Ben,
we know you do.
Who was your favorite character on the show?
The one I'm tempted to say is going to make you mad, but Artie.
Artie, really?
I don't know that he's my favorite. He's like my favorite side character.
We gave like no screen time to Artie.
I was going to ask who is Artie.
Back in the kitchen.
I really don't know.
He's the chef who's always talking to people.
Okay,
he's great. There's some great.
Yes.
Artie.
Oh my God. Yes. He got hit with a car. Yes. At some point. Kind of.
No, that's Beansy.
Oh,
that's Beansy.
Okay.
Yeah, Beansy owns the pizza parlor.
Yes.
Artie was the bald guy who owns the restaurant.
Yes.
That they always keep going to, Vesuvio's.
Yeah.
Did we show Maxine the scene where Artie and Tony are having it out in the parking lot? Is that a?
No,
Oh,
yes,
whatever.
yes. When he discovers that Tony burned down
Yeah.
his restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he runs with the
Yeah,
rifle.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
showed that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you,
That was-
okay, as the
that's already-
season has gone on, like during the entirety of our season of Machete Order, did you guys forget some of the episodes that we watched?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's such a blur. But it's like, it doesn't matter for me because it's the only things I've ever watched from The Sopranos. But for you, I bet it blurred the lines.
Well, one
Right.
of the things that's
Yeah.
hard to do about this, as we look back on this season of Machete Order, was remembering what we had shown you versus what we decided not to show you,
Yeah.
and not bringing up things that had occurred in episodes that you hadn't seen.
Yeah.
That was challenging to do.
Yeah.
So good luck with that.
Thanks. Ben, did we lose? I know you had an opinion on skipping through basically 4 and 5. But is there any storyline we chose to drop that you wish we didn't?
Yeah, I mean, SJ brought it up, but the fact that you got to the finale of season 5 and you didn't really know who Tony B was. I mean, that's like I'd say, 85% of that season's arc.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one. And then also in season 4, the kind of Carmela Furio thing there were times where you just had to kind of fill Maxine in on.
I saw
by
some
the way,
of
this
that one.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to keep that one in. The Tony B piece was what I decided to do with it at the end was say, this is going to be more of a story about how Tony is going back on his principles and contradicting this idea that the mafia protects its own by betraying all of these people one after the other. Adriana, Tony B as cousin, Vito, and ultimately Christopher. And it's that leading up to that betrayal of ultimately like the figure who's your son, the father-son betrayal piece, and choosing not to look too much into the arc of Tony B or even the build-up with the rivalry in the New York family. Again, you have to pick and choose plot lines when it comes to this type of stuff. And clearly, if Ben had been sitting in the guest host chair, we probably would have had a lot more scenes with Artie in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was first introduced to this podcast, I did sit down and I made a 30 to see, okay, so I can line this up. But in your defense, it was very hard, and I had to I ended up cutting out the Kevin Finnerty episodes because even though I think those are so important, I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have to cut this part out so that we can make room for the other stuff.
In your 30 episodes, how many did we hit? Do you have the list still?
Where's my phone?
The Shadow Machete Order. I love this.
Yeah, here we go.
For paying subscribers only, you can get to Ben's Machete Order.
Okay, so I went in. It's in chronological order. So
Okay.
I had, and I didn't do the finale first, but I had, pilot, college. Yeah,
Okay.
we were like right on it, like through half of it, basically. I think.
Okay.
So pilot, college, Legend of Tennessee Multisanti, Isabella, Dream of Jeannie Cusimano, Toodle Fucking Ooh, which I had.
Wow, that's like pretty much exactly what we had.
I skipped Bust Out.
Okay.
I went to Night in White Satin Armor and Fun House.
Yep.
Which is is also my top 5 actually. Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
University.
Yeah.
Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
Amor Fou.
Wow.
Or Morphou. Army of One.
Uh-huh.
So then,
Did you make this before we started the season?
I made this after one episode, I think.
Wow.
Because I remember rooting for Isabella. Because I caught Ross I think right after the first episode had aired.
Yep.
I think. So then I did.
So after this point is when we started to get a little nutty with it, and we jumped up to season 6.
Yeah, because I kept it.
This is where SJ started picking the episodes on his own without.
SJ went off the rails in the second half.
Well,
of
and
this.
we did the Kevin. We did the Kevin Finnerty piece.
I kept trying to go in the same. Like I'm picking a season, and I'm picking like a few points here to get the flavor.
Okay.
So I had For All Debts Public and Private, which is the season 4 premiere.
Yeah.
Whoever did this.
Yeah.
The Strong Silent Type, White Caps.
So you skipped No Show, and you did the.
I did. I didn't want to.
The All Debts Public and Private. I'm surprised that you put that in there. I thought that was one of the weakest premieres on the show.
Really? I think that's one of the stronger premieres.
Really?
Oh,
I like the whole thing with Tony and Barry Haydu, and then it comes up again with in the movie.
Yeah.
A little bit, though less so than I wanted it to. I wish they had just addressed that. Anyhow, Strong Silent Type, White Caps, and then for season 5 I had Rat Pack.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Marco Polo, which is one of my favorite.
That's
episodes.
a great one. That's the one where Tony and Carmela get back together. Is Marco Polo? Yeah, we skipped that one.
Kind of on a one nighter, but it plants the seed for the rest of it. But Unidentified Blackmails, Test Stream, Long-Term Parking, All Due Respect. So it's very season 5 heavy.
Yeah.
And then I unfortunately skipped the Kevin Finnerty episodes, which I was not happy about. And I did Mr. and Mrs. Sacramone Request.
Yeah.
Cold Stones, Soprano Home Movies, Walk Like a Man, Kennedy and Heidi, Blue Comet, and Made in America. So it was pretty close.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So wasn't as bad as we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah.
Well, and I think like the big difference is whether or not you can choose the Kevin Finnerty comes at the cost of one of the other storylines, and you get 2 more episodes of season 5 that you would be able to throw in there.
Yeah.
And that is helping you develop the Tony B storyline, and like Marco Polo would have been in there where you could have seen like Tony start to reconcile with Carmela, and there is when I think about that episode, I think about the scene in the pool where they're playing Marco Polo. And it's just, there are these moments in this very violent, dysfunctional show where you have these very wholesome memories. And like, Ross, so many Marco Polo games in your pool. Like, it was that reminiscent of our childhood and happy times. And the show does that so naturally. And I think that's the genius of the show, is how fluidly these characters can go from being like the best family you always wish you could be a part of,
right,
into a world of dysfunction that feels so rooted in deep hatred for each other. And they do it within the same scene. I think that's why Whitecaps stands out as one of such a classic episode.
When was the last time you played Marco Polo?
It's been a while.
Get a game going.
I know. We should.
Sharks and Minnows, parlay it.
All right. Guys, have any other questions for our super fan?
I don't think I do.
Ben,
Thank
do you always?
Ben. We really appreciate it.
Do you plan on just continuing to watch Sopranos on loop? It sounds like you have no end in sight.
Yeah, it sounds like it's already on loop. Yeah,
I took like a solid time off, and then it was around the pandemic when we were all kind of shut down, and we had lots of time at home, and it's like, yeah, I'll get back into the Sopranos, and then that was when those podcasts started coming out, and I was like, oh, this will be perfect. And then I think I took maybe a year off, and then
and now you're back. You're back into it.
I want to rank these episodes.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do that, so now I'm doing that.
There you go. Well, we're glad that we inspired you to rank episodes and to consider reordering episodes. And what's your second favorite TV show?
Oh,
Ben only watches one TV show. He doesn't have there's 86 episodes.
Are there other TV shows?
They make other TV shows?
No, probably. I would say The Wire. Probably.
Okay.
I'm from Baltimore, but yeah, The Wire. I used to be a huge 6 Feet Under fan too. I don't know that that's held up as well with time. As some of the other shows.
Well,
have.
The Wire, I think, is one that we've definitely thought about doing. I love The Wire as well. It feels like the companion
multiple
piece.
People have been telling me to do The Wire.
Yeah.
Which we'll not be doing next season, but maybe in the future.
Yeah.
The Wire, Breaking Bad.
I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so
we hope you like Buffy.
Well, we hope you stay with us. Yeah, that's the whole point too, is to broaden the genres. I've got a couple of television shows that did you guys know that they used to make television shows before the late 90s? I know that the golden age of modern TV starts with The Sopranos, and there's nothing that came before it seems. But yeah, no, we want to walk all around the television industry and its legacy with Machete Order. But The Wire certainly is one that would be good under Machete Order, and then of course Breaking Bad, the triumvirate of the drug trade storylines.
Yeah. I like the Breaking Bad plus Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
combine those. No.
I actually like Better Call Saul better than Breaking Bad, which is a little unconventional. But
And I've never seen Better Call Saul. I've only seen Breaking
I
Bad.
haven't seen either.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you should be the test subject.
I
for the
know.
Better Call Saul Machete Order.
I like it. Well, Ben, thank you for taking some time and talking to us about all of this. It's great to have a fan on who's got such different and deep perspectives about what we've done. And yeah, it's been great talking.
And I know you don't agree with the concept, but I hope we The Sopranos justice at least a little bit.
Yeah. Well, one thing I will say is I did not do the assignments. So like I didn't watch
So you
the
have
3
no-
episodes.
yeah.
Why are you even here?
Well, I was already ranking these episodes. You know, I had a project already. So
no.
Well,
Well, hey.
maybe I'll do the Buffy assignments because I haven't actually seen that.
Okay. We hope you stick around, Ben. And yeah, we hope that when there's a Buffy call-in finale, we hear that melodious voice of yours.
Oh, I don't know what to say to that, but thank you.
You got a great you got a great podcast voice. Voice.
That's great. I've never been on a podcast.
All you need is a microphone.
Yeah.
We set Ross up. We can sit.
And a stable internet
probably
connection.
got better audio than I do. So
That's true. All right, buddy. Well, great talking to you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Take care.
Bye, Ben. We have one more voicemail to play, and then we can talk about what's to come next season.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Hey, this is Josh. I'm a long-time listener. This is my last time listening. I love the show. I just want to know when you guys are going to stop talking about these damn Italians. Talk about Buffy. It's a great show. You guys gotta, it's about time for you change your pace. I think Buffy's a great show, and you guys you'd have a really good time, and a lot of your fans would really like it. Baba Booey.
Long time listener. This is my last time listening.
Well, this is gonna be last time listening because Josh Burns, my very dear friend, is going to be one of the co-hosts next season. We are huge Buffy fans. He has seen every single episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and next season we're going to be whittling down the 120. There's over 100 episodes of
crazy.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Welcome to the 90s.
We're going to be whittling it down to 30 episodes.
Keeps growing every week.
So stay tuned for next season.
That is a tall order.
I
but
know.
I'm excited.
We've been watching through the seasons, and we're like, oh my God, these are longer.
And they're an hour long each,
An hour
right?
long.
Yeah. Well, I can already just hear it in your voice that shifting into the host chair is going to be an exciting thing for you. And
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited to not have to watch all the episodes and just have to machete it up. This is exactly why we do this, so that we can get a taste and a retelling of these classic stories. Ross, are you ready to go back in time?
Yeah, I'm excited to, I guess, keep my role going with the shallow and sometimes funny commentary.
And that's all we need from you, buddy.
The fans loved you so much, Ross, that they insisted that we take you from a guest host to a permanent host. So we're very excited that you're going to be continuing on with us.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I've never seen Buffy. It used to be on the TV in the background occasionally when I was growing up in the 90s.
It was available without having cable. It was part of the basic broadcast package.
I think it was UPN.
It was UPN.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Buffy is going to be our next show, but we're not going to be back until the beginning of September.
We're going to take the summer off.
We're going to take the rest of the summer off.
Little R&R, recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
Get out there. Little Marco Polo. Get out into the sun. Don't catch COVID.
We're going to go down to Ross's pool.
Yeah.
And we're going to take over his house, and we're going to play Marco Polo.
But we'll be back, and we hope you are back with us. This has been an awesome experience. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for recognizing us out there in the streets, letting us know what you feel and think about these shows. We hope to talk to you next time. And until then, be well, stay safe, keep watching TV, and don't be afraid to machete it up.
That was good. Well, okay. Wow.
On the spot there? Wow.
Yeah. No notes.
I know you didn't
see trip up after the second comment there. Like, be well, stay. You hit it. You landed the plane.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can all land the plane.
Love you guys.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Machete Order. If you like what we're doing, give us a rating and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. Be sure to subscribe.
If people don't support this thing, it might not make it.
Special thanks to Brother Sal for providing us with our theme song, I Will Tell. And thank you to producer Nicole Kemet, and our guest host, Ross. Do you agree with SJ and Ross's episode picks? Am I not appreciating the story the way I should? Let us know on our Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. We will not call it X, at Machete Order. We'll talk about it, or because this is a show about Italians, we'll argue about it.
Affangaul!
Be sure to tell your friends.
Until next time, I'm SJ Petteruti.
I'm Maxine Philivong, and this has been a Rotary Studios experience.
Hi, it's me. It's Barrett. I am calling to remind everyone about a good yearly rabies PSA. I feel like this is a topic that goes too far undiscussed, but if you ever get bitten by a wild animal, people usually think that if they are showing rabies symptoms, then you go get the rabies shots. But no, I'm here to tell you that if you get bitten by a wild animal, or a domesticated animal for that matter, even if it's not showing rabies symptoms, it can still give you rabies because it takes a while for those symptoms to develop, and they're still transmissible before they're symptomatic. And if you develop symptoms for rabies, or if you get bitten by a rabid animal, contract rabies, and never get it treated, you will die. I think there's like one person that survived it, but they're a complete like ghost of who they were, and they can't move any of their body parts. So just for the record, remember to get your rabies vaccines. If you come into contact with animals, you can also get rabies from an animal scratching you because it's transmitted through saliva. So if they like lick their paws and then scratch you, you can still get rabies. And domestic cats transmit the most rabies per year. So it's not bad. It's cats. And they're domestic cats, but technically they're like feral domestic cats, you know, because domestic is like a breed of cat, and so feral cats that are domestic cats transmit the most rabies. Anyway, it's important information. Thank you so much.